Welcome to Paranormal Central, broadcasting live from Central California with your hosts Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas. Broadcasting video worldwide at ParanormalCentral.net and broadcasting audio on the Dark Matter Network at ArtBell.com. Are you ready to witness something that you cannot explain?
I'm looking for you, you're looking for me. We have to decide what it will be. Can it be true? Can I believe the unexplained? Look into the sky.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Central. Coming to you live from the central part of California in a small little town called Fresno. We are live in an undisclosed location. Actually, everybody knows where we're at, but it doesn't matter. My name is Jeffrey Gonzalez. I am your host. I am also the founder of a paranormal group called the Sanger Paranormal Society. Started that about, over 11 years, 12 years now. Put a team together because there was a lot of things happening in the town I was born in, Sanger, and Fresno area. And I got some people together and we formed a cool team. And ever since then, we've been out and about in search of every single thing you want. That's what, when it comes to paranormal. Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, everything. So I found a team. Matter of fact, one person that you cannot see right now is behind the scenes. Emerald's been with me a long time. Emerald.
Hi.
She's manning the board in front of us.
Womaning the board.
Womaning the board, sorry. Yeah. And to my right to your left is my co-host, Crazy Alan Thomas.
Hi all, how you doing?
We are extremely pooped out right now.
Oh, man.
Because we've been at a convention here in Fresno called the Anime Con. And we were invited to come by and set up a booth, which we did, and we'll talk about that.
And we met a lot of cool people.
A lot of cool people. So, it's not just about sitting here in front of a mic and, we got to get out and meet everybody, meet people. Because that's the way we get cool stories and cool cases, just like what happened this week. And a lot of people came up and started telling us about some cool stuff. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, all right. Thank you all for showing up on a Sunday afternoon, wherever you may be. We are also being broadcasted on the Dark Matter Network on the famous ArtBell.com website. So you can watch us at livestream.com, or if you don't want to see our ugly mugs, which I don't blame you, you can go to artbell.com and listen there. And their audio is way better than ours. So what I would do is...
Yeah, it's not ours. It's way better than
It's way
ours.
better.
Yeah.
So, you can watch us at Livestream and listen on Art Bell. So, your call. So, a lot of times what we do is when we show photographs on our show, we have Art Bell post them, or Art Bell's people post them on his website. And we usually have a Sasquatch Bigfoot report before we do every show. Unfortunately, today we are not going to have a Sasquatch report because Danny Valderrama's son had something weird happen to him. He's been sick for about a week, and he was complaining supposedly of some stomach pains. Like, every kid has stomach pains. Big deal, right? Well, I guess for a week he's been sick, and they finally went and did some blood tests, and on a Friday, I think it was, the doctors called him up like really late at night and said, "Get your kid to the children's hospital right now." His appendix burst open several days ago, and he didn't know. So they're like, "No!" So they rushed him to the hospital, and sure enough, his appendix bursted. Is that bursted? Is that plural?
Burst.
Burst. There you go. Sorry. Burst. And so he was extremely lucky. He's actually extremely lucky. When your appendix bursts like that, no telling what can happen. It's not a good thing, because that appendix has, when it fills up and it bursts like that, it's because it's filled up with poisons that your body takes in, and that's where it holds it. And it bursts. Now, what's kind of weird, and the doctors are actually baffled, is that somehow it colorized itself, or it formed a wall, and a lot of that poison didn't get out like it should have. So he was really lucky. So supposedly he's going to be in there a week, 2 weeks at the Children's Valley Hospital, and then in about 6 weeks to 8 weeks, I think he's going to have surgery to fix the damage that all that had.
He wasn't feeling pain. Like, he had a little bit of pain, like, I guess right when it burst,
right,
and he wasn't eating right. Then, like, for a couple days. Then after that, no pain. So we had this wall holding the poison and no pain, and the doctors are like going, "What?" Never heard of that.
Right. So in honor of Trevin, we actually have a spy camera in his hotel, in his room right now, and we're going to basically show you everybody, Trevin right now at his hospital room. There he is. Oh, you're telling us to get out, Trevin? Really? Okay, well, that's Trevin. Trevin, get better, please, so we can go squatching, because he's like his dad. Daddy Valderrama and him are big Squatch fans, and he actually goes with us as much as we can. So, okay, I'll get out of your room now. All right. Trevin, get better. So,
get
all
better,
right.
buddy.
Okay, so.
I know you're listening.
I know, yeah, his dad's probably cracking up right now. I don't know if he's there or not, but, so, all right. All right, now, yesterday and today, we were at the Manchester Center. We were invited to the Anime Con. And what that is, you know what? This is basically like Emerald's mothership. This is like her deal. She's so into this stuff, Pokemon and all the mythical. Now, I want to really talk about this anime and all this stuff, because isn't it a lot of mythical creatures involved in this?
And some of them, yeah. Most of them, they have that mythical aspect.
Right.
Like, the one I was watching, it's a really old one called Record of Lotus War. I mean, there's dragons and stuff like that and creatures, so a lot of them do have different aspects of it.
Because everybody, when they go to these things, they dress up and all that kind of stuff, which is cool, But I noticed that I think the mythical creatures definitely come into play, because everybody who's involved in this type of anime thing, they're, I think, also involved in paranormal stuff. I really do.
Yeah.
I think they are. So that's why when we were invited, I said, heck yeah, because I think everybody definitely gets into the whole genre of paranormal and this stuff. So a lot of people were coming up. We had a booth set up, and we had some stuff on the tables, and we actually had a chair where we had a couple of aliens standing up near the chair, and you can, if you wanted to take a picture, you could, and all that kind of stuff. So we made it comfortable for them to come up and talk to us and all this, and actually we had some stories. Whenever we do something like this, we get stories from people. Now, Alan, you were talking to somebody, but I had a couple come up to me, and they had something going on in Kermit. And they told me this whole story about what they were witnessing. And then all of a sudden at the end, she goes, our neighbor down the 2 or 3 houses down, they had you guys come by. Something about a mirror.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you remember that?
I remember that.
You remember that? And
that's
I'm going,
crazy.
Oh, my God. And I'm going, I wonder if there's something going on in that block. Because they're literally just a couple of houses away. And, they didn't know who we were, and then they just recognized Sanger Paranormal Society and all that. But for all those who don't know, Kerman is west of Fresno, small little town. We went there
God, it's been
5 years, 6 years ago, yeah. And what it was is they were experiencing problems. At that time, we had a psychic, Becky, and she was good. She was really good, I have to admit. And she hit this one on the head. She found out because the house was, they were collecting. They like to collect mirrors, old mirrors and stuff like that.
Yard sales, stuff like that.
And then finally, Becky came to the conclusion that it was one of these mirrors where the entity or whatever was causing all the, at the house was going in and out. And she sat down with the couple and found out which mirror it was. And it happened to have been a neighbor across the street who was given the mirror, and then they started having problems. So they gave the mirror to their neighbor's house, not telling them what was going on.
They had it out at a yard sale.
Yeah, but they gave it to her, and then that's when she started having the problem. So that night we found out which mirror it was, and Becky advised her.
Broke the mirror.
No,
you don't break it.
No, you don't break it.
You don't break it.
What happened is, Becky advised them to put it in a plastic bag, and they taped it up. And they actually, that night, we were like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
We were there all night.
Yeah, we were there all night. They drove down to an alley downtown, and they put it in a dumpster. And then they came back. And that was it. Everything cleared up. Everything.
So was the people that you talked to were the ones that found it in the dumpster?
No.
These were their neighbors.
These are neighbors.
Oh, okay.
It just so happens that, they were having problems on that street. So it was a trip. So if they might call us to come down and see what happens, but we'll see what happens.
I should have brought that mirror home.
Yeah, right.
That would have been interesting.
Whatever.
Well, no, because they didn't just throw it out. We had advised them. You got to push this thing back in the mirror before you get rid of the mirror. You can't
that's
just,
right. Yeah.
You can't just throw that out because then you're stuck with it.
So we actually started from one in the house, and then we actually all went towards the mirror, and it's been a little long ago. I don't know if we had holy water with us or...
You had some holy water, and then Becky was with the owner, basically, because, the owner of the house is the one with all the power.
Right.
They're the ones who have to sit there and fight that thing.
They have
basically,
the authority.
Right.
Yeah, to push it back.
Right.
So that's what we did, and then...
And then we went straight toward the mirror, and then as soon as they went up to the mirror, they took the mirror down, put it in the bag, taped it up. They got into the vehicle, and we're talking 4 o'clock in the morning, and boom, they went downtown to an alley. We waited for them to come back, and they said, done. And that was it. And as a matter of fact, when I was talking to this couple at the convention this weekend, everybody out there needs to understand that when you like to go, yard sailing and the antique shops, when you bring those pieces home, you might bring something else home with you too, because people tend to, when they like a piece of furniture or something that they've always treasured, I feel that their spirit or whatever might still be with that object. So you guys have to be careful bringing stuff home. So all those people out there, if you have something going on in your home, and if you like shopping at yard sales and antique shops and you have all that kind of stuff all over your home, that may be your problem right there. So
well, even mirrors too. It could be any item, but mirrors are susceptible more than any other thing.
Right. So okay, let's continue on. Again, Trevin, Get Better. That was Anime Con. There's actually a couple of more conventions coming to Fresno. I think we've been invited to another one in October at the convention center. So we're going to be going to that one too.
Dallas, he's on chat. He says, I only stayed a little while. It got too hot, and he had to leave.
I wonder why it got hot.
He went to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah,
it was really hot. The air conditioner broke and leaked all over these vendors. And oh man, it just got blazing hot in there. It was humid and hot, but so fun.
So, all right. Let's continue on with things that have been happening in the news. Obviously, we all know about another Malaysian air crash. Well, naturally, it wasn't a crash. Supposedly, it was brought down intentionally. Now, there are several rumors going around right now in Facebook, everywhere, that there's something weird that happened to that airplane after it fell to the ground. There is actually, I think Elizabeth posted, everybody who's listening right now all over the world, we have a Facebook like page, Paranormal Central. I want everybody out there to go and like that page, Paranormal Central on Facebook, okay? Because we're going to start really, I have been, and Alan has, when we get stories, we put them on our personal, and we sort of kind of have been not paying attention much to the Paranormal Central, but that is all going to change this week. From now on, anything that I post on my personal is going to get posted on the Paranormal like page.
Did you know that when you post, because you like your own like page, right? When you post on the like page, it posts automatically on your page.
Really?
Yeah. It'll go on on your timeline. And
I did not know that. That's going to save me then from doing that. Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
I post videos up still. I mean, that's what I've been doing is I'll take the archive, like of this show, and then I'll load it on YouTube, do some editing to it, to make it right, and then I'll post it on the Paranormal Central like page, and then it goes right on my page. In fact, when I post it, it'll even go on your page, because everybody that liked that page, it'll post to them and show them that
I'll have to do
that one on there.
Okay.
As long as they're following, you have to follow that page though.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I see.
Like, so they could like it and then unfollow it, and then they won't see the post.
Oh, okay. I'll have to do some experiments and make sure that all works, because I don't want to, totally not post on my wall and just post on Paranormal Central. So, okay. So let's talk about the airplane. You guys remember there was another Malaysian air tragedy that happened in January of this year. Actually,
March. Yeah, March.
You're right. My bad. March. Okay. March the 8th, to be exact. It disappeared from thin air. Okay. They don't know what happened to that aircraft. Okay. Now, before that occurred, there was a crop circle that turned up near the Bay Area that we talked about pretty heavily on this show. And it was an NVIDIA. There you go.
CPU chip that it has 500 CPUs in the CPU. Like, you have a quad core on your computer, this thing has a 500 core, right? And that's what's so important about it, because now, I mean, that's a big deal. Like right now, the highest technology you get is 8 cores.
Yeah.
For a CPU. This one could have 500.
Okay.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. So that showed up on January the 5th.
Let's hope Livestream never makes us get that. No.
On January the 5th, that happened. That crop circle occurred not too far away from Fresno, actually. Not about half an hour, 45 minutes to an hour drive. Now, everybody was saying it was a promotional gimmick to push that particular chip, and we were trying to. That particular chip had a lot of hints of different things going on in that chip. There was hidden messages all over that chip, and a lot of people were trying to find them and trying to encrypt them and so forth.
Like,
we were
taking all the numbers.
You did like a whole show on that.
We did like a couple of shows. Yeah, we were like going at it big time.
It was
now,
fun. Let's do it again.
On March the 8th, that Malaysian plane that went missing, there was like all the people, there was 4 or 5 scientists on there, engineers, that actually held the patent to that particular chip on that plane that went missing. All right? So that's when really the conspiracy theories went off the chart, and people were saying, all right, then that plane deliberately went missing. Somebody made it go missing because whoever held the patent on that chip were on that plane. Then we found out that those engineers who designed that chip were working for a company, and that particular company was owned by the Rothschilds. So the patent holders who are now gone, nobody knows where they're at, the patent automatically is now turned over to the Rothschilds, if I'm not mistaken. How convenient is that? Now, on this plane that went down a couple of days ago, another Malaysian aircraft, there was 298 people on board. 100 of those people were on their way to a AIDS convention in Australia. And in those 100, there was very reputable scientists and well-known people who are on the top of the game when it comes to AIDS and trying to figure out the vaccine and all that kind of stuff. Well, they all died. All right, every single one of those people died. Now, yesterday I found out that when people started to arrive at the scene of this aircraft while it was on the ground burning, reports were coming in that the military or whoever was first on the scene, they were smelling rotten flesh. And I mean, I take that back. It wasn't rotten flesh. It was flesh that, when a person dies, within several days, it starts smelling like
nasty,
like death.
Nasty,
right? Mm-hmm. Okay. When this airplane that went down a couple days ago, as soon as people were on the scene, they smelled that. That's what they were smelling all over the area,
so
and they couldn't.
Like maybe that they were dead for a while.
That's that's going on right now. There are reports.
Are you taking into account, because the plane when it crashed was burning?
Yes, but it didn't smell like burned flesh. It smelled like
they were gone for a while.
A long time. Okay. Now, I'm not going to say what I believe because it is too early in the game, but the theories are out right now, and I don't know where they're getting these theories from. But they're saying that some bodies were actually in the cargo area, and they have been dead for a long period of time. And how do they know this? I don't know. Again, this could be speculation. People could be just running around throwing rumors around, but there's some reputable, I don't want to say reputable, but big-time shows on podcasts that have been doing this for longer than I have are coming out that these bodies might have been actually injected with some type of viruses. So when the plane did go down, and it went down in Ukraine or the Russian area, that the people who arrive on the scene first, then they would be infected with whatever was in these bodies.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and then from then on, that's when the SHIT is going to hit the fan. That's what they're saying. All I'm doing is I am relaying you guys what I have been reading on the internet, and this is all over the place. Okay,
well,
all this
I have a different take.
Okay,
I have a friend.
You have a friend?
Yeah, one. I only have one. I have one friend on Facebook. And his name is Robert Tosh.
Tosh.
Yes, and he's an ex-CIA. He also was in on the Contra thing, Contra gun running, where the government was selling guns, and he says they still are.
Sure. Of course they are.
Yeah, and what he actually predicted that there was going to be some jets go down like this, and it was going to be from some Stinger missiles and some rocket launchers that the government sold. And they lost control of it somehow, where they got into the wrong hands of what they didn't intend, okay? And he actually predicted this a while back, and he predicted it right to the letter of how it was going to happen, where it was going to happen, in the Ukraine, the whole thing. And then, bam, it happened.
So this person
I kinda, I mean,
now, did he tell you this before it occurred?
No, he posted it on his Facebook
after it happened.
Before.
Oh.
Now, and how I even came across it was, I follow him. It isn't like I chat with him or anything. I follow him because I'm interested in what he says. Mm-hmm. Because so far he's predicted a lot of stuff about the government and the media and some other things that he's been 100% right on. And when that jet went down, some of the people that follow him started posting up and saying, "Oh my gosh, Tosh, you predicted that exactly."
Wow.
And I mean, he predicted it where what kind of jet, and what he's saying is it's mostly cargo jets is what's going to go down. So everybody that's listening right now, pay attention. Be watching for cargo jets to be shot down by missiles and stuff, because they're actually targeting guns. Okay, and according to him, Russia and the United States are in cahoots with it, and I actually want to have the guy as a guest one day.
Well, make it happen.
You know, okay. I'll ask him. He won't go on mainstream media anymore. He went on MSNBC, and they had him on there, and then they butchered everything to make it sound like he didn't say what he said.
Okay.
So he will not go on those anymore. He said they're bought by the powers that be, and they don't want the truth out.
Right.
So he only goes on truth places like ours.
Okay.
So, well, I'll see what I could do.
Okay.
But that's what he said, and he said he actually predicted it. And if any of you guys are friends with Robert Tosh, go check it out, man. You'll find out that he might be really telling the truth. And he's saying Benghazi also is like dirty. These guys are dirty. That it was all known in advance, and it has something to do with these Stinger missiles and rocket launchers. And so I mean, it's interesting to see that, and then I when you see that, and then you read what Jeffrey's talking about, you're like, where do these guys get? Like you were saying, it could be conjecture or whatever. This guy was pretty clear on the prediction, and then they even reposted it so that everybody could read it again, and he was pretty right on the money.
I need for you to, if you can, go and tell me so I can go and like his page, and I want to go. I want to go read that stuff, and
I'll see what I could do about getting him as a guest too. I know he'd love to come on here, especially if we're not going to edit him, and and he could tell the truth.
Well, let me play devil's advocate. You said they were like deceased. The smell have already been deceased for a while. Well, they were going to the AIDS convention, right?
Right.
Couldn't have been like not like experimentation, but they're samples of
dead people with AIDS.
Exact, kind of like. I mean, I'm just taking a shot in the dark. You know what I'm saying? And that could be like an excuse. Like if it's not, that's what it was. They could say, well, hey, these were the people that they were trying this new stuff on.
Okay. Now, hey, I didn't think about that, because people were saying that they were witnessing these bodies already in rigor mortis, already stiff.
Yeah.
That's how they found these bodies already, like in that position, or like they've been dead for a long period of time, and their blood had been drained out of their bodies. How they knew that, I don't know, but that's how they were saying. Now,
again, these are all just like rumors.
Yeah,
and stuff
but now check this out though. There is a video, and it's out there, and it's from a media network that was there on the spot, and one military guy opens up his military vehicle and gets a box of passports, and he dumps the passports on the back, and every single passport that this guy has, like 20 25, were immaculate. They were brand new. There was no burn, no residue, no dirt, nothing. Like these things were just made off the printing press. And he was showing the media anchor, news anchor, who was there on the spot doing the story, and then he happened to have opened one up, and it showed, I think it was a woman, and there was I don't have a passport. Well, I don't have a passport because I don't really go out to the country. So, but from what I understand, when these passports, and then maybe Emerald, because I know you're going out of the country, do they stamp or punch a hole in these passports?
It's a stamp.
Okay.
In
Supposedly,
fact, you can't go out, and it has to be an up-to-date one too.
Yeah.
Supposedly that when this guy opened up the passport and there was some dates on there and hole punch or whatever, it showed the wrong date on there, and people caught it, and they're going, wait a minute, that does not match up on when the plane took off or any of that. So they're saying that it was all a show as far as them bringing out those passports. Now, why, I don't know. So something stinks, literally, about this whole incident. I know, sorry.
You know what I noticed? Okay, now, this is just me, though. I was looking at the crash, okay, and then I've been reading some stuff on 9/11 still, okay, And because I think something stinks about 9/11. You know, I'm sorry, but Building 7 went down and wasn't. I mean, it just barely had one room on fire or something, and it takes 2 weeks to set all the explosives to knock it down. So that means they pre-planned Building 7 to go crash. Okay, now I was looking at the crash of the Malaysia thing, and you see all these engines and everything sitting around, right? Debris all over the place. What about that one that went down? Was it in Pennsylvania? That the one jet that didn't make it and it crashed or something. The people overtook the pilot or whatever. Right. Do you know there was no wreckage or anything? It was just a big hole in the ground and just some stuff scattered around. No plane debris at all, you know.
You're right.
And I was like, you know, that's what a plane crash looks like. But how come the other one doesn't look like that? I mean, I know it's off topic.
No, you know what? You make a lot of sense, and you're right. And a lot of people, when that plane that came down and they overtook the cockpit and it went boom. Let's talk about that. Let's say, for example, that the plane that crashed, the Malaysian crash, right, just recently, or the plane that went down, it blew up in midair, and all the pieces fell down.
Like supposedly it did.
Okay.
You know.
Now, what about this airplane in Pennsylvania? What happened if they overtook the cockpit and pushed on the rudder or whatever, and it went and slammed head in first to the earth, and that's why it made that crater, and everything disintegrated because of the impact.
Yeah, I thought about that, but what about like the one that supposedly hit? Okay, this is another questionable thing. The one that hit the Pentagon. Okay, now supposedly a jetliner hits it, and they found an engine. Okay, and they had a hole that was the size of a rocket, but not a plane. Okay. I mean, this whole thing doesn't make sense to me, and that's why I'm still reading about it. I'm sorry, but you know.
I mean, there's been pictures on the internet of when the plane hit, and on the other side of the building you see what looks like to be this explosion, and it's on a lower floor than what the plane hit.
Right, and only some papers coming out, right? That's all. But
they're saying,
do you know that those engines are made out of stuff that is almost indestructible?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've heard people say, 9/11 had to say was an inside type of job. That they had set the building with explosives.
It had. Well, I know what Building 7 for sure was. It went in free fall.
How far was Building 7 from the actual towers?
It was in the same complex. That's why it was Building 7.
This is. I'm not saying this is my theory, but how tall were the World Trade Centers?
Oh, geez, wow.
100 floors?
I don't know.
Over 100 floors, maybe? Okay.
Big.
All right, now check this out. When you have that many floors falling on each other, and they're falling downward, right, until they get to the very bottom, then when they hit the very bottom, all that is going to go like this.
Right.
And you're talking, there's tons and tons of material falling to the ground, and when it hits the falling to the ground, it spreads out like this.
Well, that had that big cloud go out.
Right. So what is not to say that while all that was falling and then projecting outward, that it knocked the whatever at the bottom of that Building 7 and made it weak.
No, they have that one guy. I don't know what his name is now, but they have him on video. Right on the. This is the weird part about Building 7. First, CNN is interviewing a lady, and Building 7 is right behind her in the shot, and she is reporting that Building 7 fell. Okay, and then as soon as they catch that, they cut her off because Building 7 didn't fall yet, and she's reporting it fell.
Well,
then they have this guy that owns it, and he's collecting insurance on it, and he said there was a fire in Building 7, so I just said, pull it, right? They said, you want to pull it? Pull it. Pull it means, like,
knock it down.
Knock it down, right? So this guy gave the order to knock it down. Well, that means they were going to knock it down. Well, now the question is, what was in Building 7?
Well, Building 7 held the records, the Pentagon
Everything
records.
they wanted to hide.
Yeah, matter of fact,
Everything.
Do you remember
they
when
had like $7 billion missing?
More than that.
Was it?
I think more than that. And as a matter of fact, Rumsfeld came out and said we're missing like $7 billion, $7 trillion, not trillion, but a lot of money, and they have no idea what happened to it. Well, supposedly the records and everything were in Building 7.
Right.
Okay.
That's why that one went down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, since we're getting into the whole World Trade Center thing, did you know that just down the street, FEMA had already set up camp and already had vehicles on standby because they were practicing for a disaster of some type.
Of airplanes flying into a building.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm serious, man. And they even were ready to stand down and everything. I mean, I'm serious. I'm telling you, this whole thing smells, right? Just like this Malaysia Airlines, 2 of them now, smells. And
yeah, what are the chances of it being the same airliner company?
That's weird, isn't it?
It's weird, and now
no one's gonna want to fly with them anymore.
You know what? That as a matter of fact, a very popular actor, movie star.
I say follow the money.
He actually came out on Twitter. He tweeted after that. He said, "Does anybody want to purchase insurance the next time you fly on Malaysia?"
No. It was Miles. Wasn't he getting rid of Miles? Because he was... Or maybe we're not talking about the same guy. Because he said... I guess he made like a type of joke about the plane. And then he's like, you know what? It was probably too soon. Let me go ahead and sell my miles if you guys want to buy some miles with that company.
The guy who was...
I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name.
The movie is Pie. Apple... No.
American?
American Pie. He was the guy
Pie.
who was in that. He was the actor.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
He
his
wasn't
name.
talking about Malaysian Airlines, though, was he?
Yeah, he was. I thought he made
he made a funny on. He tweeted afterward after it happened.
Oh, not in the movie.
No. He just came out.
If they said it in the movie, you guys are going to knock me out of my chair.
No.
He sort of made a joke, and then as an apology, he started selling his airliner.
Oh, really?
Danny says,
I didn't know that.
Danny says Jason Biggs, right?
Huh?
Jason Biggs.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Danny.
Thank you, Danny. He tweeted something that he thought at that point in time that he thought it was funny, but apparently a lot of people didn't think it was funny. And
I think it's funny.
It's just one of those things you have to watch. When you're a big person like an actor or a rock star, and you make a comment, and people are going to take it the wrong way. And when it's just the way it goes when you're famous.
Roseanne's running for president. That's funny, No.
He
said on his account, he joked, anyone want to buy my Malaysian Airliners frequent flyer miles?
Yeah.
And people were all like, people were mad.
Like, wow, really, dude?
I do.
Wow.
I bet you could get it really cheap, and I'm not afraid to fly. Even on Malaysian, I'm not important enough to blow up.
Yeah. Well,
at least I don't think I am.
You are now.
Yeah.
You're wanted by everybody, so. Okay. All right.
Alphabet people.
So, conspiracy theories. You know what? The next conspiracy theory I really want to. Matter of fact, I'm going to make it happen this week.
Okay.
Sandy Hook.
Oh man, that one with all the actresses and actors.
I want to talk about Sandy Hook. I'm going to make something happen here pretty soon, guys, and then we're going to talk about Sandy Hook. You guys are going to trip.
I don't know. I mean, I've read what you guys have told me, and I can't believe it still.
Right.
What you guys were talking about.
From what I understand, the whole school was empty.
Because you guys touched on it before. Was it last week or the week before? You touched on it,
a little bit.
We don't want to talk too much about it. We want to save it for the show.
But like I said, I still can't believe.
Right.
What's going on?
Well, we were talking to you about the whole fluoride thing and all that, and you didn't believe it until you researched it, and you went, "Holy crapola!"
Yeah.
You're right, Jeff. My apologies.
You know what's kind of funny is
I know
we'll talk about stuff like this, and then like a year sometimes goes by, and then it comes out.
Yeah.
And then everybody will be making fun of us on Facebook for a whole year. We have to put up with it.
Well, that's what I mean. Could you imagine? I mean, you guys if I didn't know about this, and I mean, college students,
right?
Older
people.
Well, you know what I mean? You know how many people don't know?
There was, I saw somebody on Facebook who happens to be a friend of mine on Facebook. She made a comment, says, she watches our show every week, and she cannot believe the things that we talk about. And one subject, she went and she Googled, and then I just so happened to, because I was trying to find out who she was, and I actually followed her and went to her wall.
Stalker.
Yeah, shut up. And she actually posted on her wall stating that because she did some researching on conspiracy theories, I don't know what it was, but she goes, I got to get out of this bubble. I just found out something that just turned my life around. And it was something. Heard that it was something that she heard on this show. Okay, it was something that she heard on this show. That's why she came on and messaged me saying, "Thank you for what we're doing. You opened my eyes." And I said, "Really?" And that's when I went to her wall, and she made that comment. And so she, and I know she's probably listening, but I appreciate the kind words because that's the reason why we do what we do. Is it's time to open up your eyes. And now, since we're talking about eyes. There's something that, again, wasn't planned. I just said, you know what, let's go ahead and pull it up right now. For all those who are watching or listening on Art Bell, you can always go back and watch this show archived in our website. Because
YouTube. I put it on YouTube every time, and then I'll put the link everywhere. And I'm going to talk to Keith about seeing how we can link this stuff up for him, too. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll let you worry about that.
I want Keith to be involved. I mean, he's so cool to us.
Yeah. Yeah, we're kissing your butt, Keith.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
I want that countdown.
For all those people who we talk about stuff. Sometimes we ramble on, and all of a sudden now we're talking about another subject. Well, since we're talking about the eye, where did the eye come from? I don't know. I don't know. Fluoride. That's what it was. The fluoride. I told you guys that, and Cheryl, my wife, brought this up too. The third eye. That fluoride and all the junk food tends to basically put it out of commission. Yeah,
crystallizes.
Yeah, crystallize it, puts it out of commission.
Calcifies.
Yeah, I can never remember that word. That's why we have you here.
That's why I'm here.
That's why.
Yeah.
What's the name again?
My name?
No. What was that?
Calcify.
That's right. I just wanted you to say it again.
Like,
one more time. Calcify. Okay.
Calcify.
Thank you. Now, I do a lot of research. Shut up. I do a lot of research and about the things that we talk about on this. And I ran across this cool picture that threw me for a loop. And I'm going, holy mackerel, you got to be kidding me. So.
Did it hurt?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, okay.
The Egyptians, there is I don't want to say a logo, but a symbol that they use is the Eye of Ra.
Yes.
Okay?
The Eye of Ra?
The Eye of Ra.
Ra eye.
Ra was the sun god.
Oh, that kind of Ra.
And the eye I'm talking about, right? The eye, and it goes like this.
And it has a little squiggly line.
Yeah. Now, check this out. You ready to be blown away?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, get on your internet right now.
All right.
Get on your phone.
Yes.
Everybody? All right.
Everybody, get on the internet.
All right. The pineal gland, right, is right here, or in the middle, way in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know if you got a saw and cut your head right down the middle?
I have a headache. Don't do that. Stop.
Oh, I hit a bone.
Oh, man.
Okay. Right down the middle.
Another bone. No.
Oh, that was a tooth.
Stop.
Okay, so if you got a saw, a chainsaw, whatever.
We get it.
All right. Check this out. You ready?
Cool.
You guys are ready on the internet? You ready? All right, here we go.
Okay, make descriptions.
Here you go.
That was a good one so far.
What am I looking up?
Yeah.
All right, check this out. All right. There is half of the brain right down from the stem of your spinal cord. Look at that.
I don't see that.
It looks just like the Eye of Ra.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you put the all-seeing Eye of Ra, right, or man, when I hear Raw, I'm thinking of wrestling, but I'm sorry,
but now check it out. Look, read, look at it. Look at this. The symbol of Eye of Ra, and the pineal gland, which is supposed to be our third eye. Look at it.
If you look
at how similar.
You're looking at a computer that I can't see.
Why? What do you mean?
Can you see the?
I have it on there.
Can you see the live stream now?
Yeah, but you guys lag on live stream, remember?
Yeah, it just switched just now.
Okay, so I'll see it in a few minutes.
At least for me, it did. I probably switched for
Look
everybody.
at that, you guys.
The Eye of Horus.
Look
right?
at that.
Oh.
Look, yeah. Look at.
Oh yeah, Eye of Horus.
Did I say the Eye of Ra?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wrong. Sorry, my bad.
It's a raw Horus eye.
Look at the how similar that is, and you don't tell me that's not by coincidence.
No, I don't think
I'm
it is.
still waiting.
No,
But
you're
anyway,
not.
I am.
Are you kidding me?
Did you switch it over?
Yeah.
Yeah, where are you?
Yeah, look.
You know, you need to upgrade. I need to get you a monitor. I'm going to get you a monitor. That way you can see it directly.
Holy crap! No way. Interesting.
Very interesting.
That's
Okay.
cool.
So,
That
so
weird?
the
Or
people
what?
that are on Art Bell, Dark Matter Radio, just type in pineal gland and Eye of Horus, and you'll see it.
You
right?
see the resemblance that it is. I mean, it's like you got to be freaking kidding me.
The third eye, thalamus, Eye of Horus.
All right.
Oh, there we go.
Thalamus,
Okay.
thalamus.
So, do you think this is a coincidence?
Well, no, I mean
No
the
way.
Egyptians were ahead of their time. They were
I wonder
smart
how many
people.
people
They did
they
a lot
you
of
know, cut
medicine.
in half, and
Looked at it.
Yeah.
The pineal. But what made them know about the pineal gland?
Well,
I don't know.
my
Uh-huh.
philosophy, like this actually could like segue into that other guy that we were going to talk about.
Okay.
My philosophy is that they were smarter because there was more oxygen in the air. And you know how I know that? When they have these little crystals that have like mosquitoes in them and stuff like that, and it has little air bubbles that got locked in with these mosquitoes. They
Did you
when
watch
they-
Jurassic Park again?
when they cut it open, those little air bubbles had a higher oxygen content than we have in our air.
I mean,
Okay.
our air is crap.
Right.
Well, I mean, it had more oxygen. Okay, now, oxygen is if you have everybody says we use only 10% of our brain, right? You know why? Because we don't have enough oxygen content in the atmosphere
to
for us to
open it up,
use
to use
all
it.
of our brain. But when we were created, or when we, I don't know, I say created, everybody else says climbed out of the primordial soup, which I don't believe. But
I do.
yeah, I mean, you could believe that, but there's no evidence. But anyways,
Evidence. You want to start?
Oh, there you go.
not tonight.
No, I'm
I
good.
got a headache.
All right.
But
That's what she
they
said.
actually showed more oxygen, so that means if these guys are pre-flood and before the Earth changed atmospheric conditions, where there was actually a water vapor canopy over the Earth, and it actually had a little bit more gravity, and it held more oxygen. They actually were smarter than us.
Yeah.
They were using 100% of their brain,
Well, I wouldn't.
opposed to
I don't
us
know
using
about
10% of
100.
their brain. Well, I think we use 100% either. I don't even know what people are
Okay,
talking about.
now,
you know.
since you said that, if, let's say, we did use a lot more, now the question is, how much more percentage of the brain? Now, if you're talking back in Egyptian times with the pyramids and stuff, then let's go back to that movie that just came out with Scarlett Johansson.
Lucy?
Where she is now able to use 90% of her brain, and she can move objects with her hands and the whole 9 yards.
Amber, that's what it's called. The ambers that had the flies and the mosquitoes in it.
Okay.
It's called amber. And it
Ambers
had,
would be the rock.
yeah, and it had the little oxygen bubbles, and
Okay.
it had more oxygen. Okay, go ahead.
So, no, but let's say your theory is correct, then maybe these Egyptians back then had powers where they were able to move large stones
Like maybe their pineal gland worked better.
with their hands and had those powers. I'm just saying,
It
you know,
could,
if you're
it
going
really
if you're
could.
going with this whole oxygen and they can use a lot more of their brain, like this movie that just came out in the theaters called Lucy with Scarlett Johansson, and maybe your theory might hold some water, but then again, it's just a theory.
Right,
but
yeah,
I've never thought about the whole oxygen depleted, back then, and the Eye of Horus, and maybe that's where, hey, who knows?
I've been studying the what out of this because of some other stuff that that I said could segue. And I'm finding like there's these things called out of place, what do they call it, artifacts, right? That they find in a seam of coal that's supposed to be 450,000 years old.
That they find.
And it's a bell perfectly like made, better than we can. And also what led me to the actual difference in, I mean, this is actually what led me to this difference in oxygen and the theory that everything was different, was because the actual metal that these artifacts that they find when they test it, it can't be made in our atmosphere, right? It has things in it that can't be made.
You know, with all that's coming out, you know, right now anybody can go Google the 10, I don't know how you can actually write it in, but the 10 weirdest objects ever found that don't make sense, or type something like that, and you'll find that we've found gears. We've found stuff at the bottom of an ocean.
They found a watch.
In coal, or you know what I'm saying? They broke open, rocks, and all of a sudden you have a hammer, and they date the rock where we're talking hundreds of thousands of years. What the heck is this doing here? This should not be here. Gears, stuff like that was not even thought about.
Well, I have something. Okay, now when we were in grade school, I know this is going to sound really weird to everybody, but when we were in grade school, we used to do experiments. Little dumb little experiments and stuff. And I was thinking about how they will find like a coal layer and then some rock layer, and they'll have these trees, petrified trees.
Okay.
And they'll be upside down, and but they'll be standing up, and they'll be in these, what do they call it? The record, the geologic record or geological column or whatever it is. Where they say, oh, this layer was this. The crustaceous,
I know
whatever.
What I should know this, but I can't.
I don't know all that. But all I know is they find, like, there's places around the world, I think Colorado, Utah, Sweden, some other places, and they find these, like, 30-foot trees, 40-foot trees. Some of them are upside down, but they are in the they're like, the bottom of them is in 500,000 years ago, and the top of them was 35,000 years ago, and it went all the way up, right? And it's petrified. Okay, now, and I was looking at that, and I'm like, okay, now, if that tree got stuck in the 450,000 year, strata,
layer,
layer, whatever, the other part of it would have rotted and fell apart way before it could have got covered up by all that stuff. Okay, way, way, way before that. There's no way that tree could have stuck up that many hundreds of thousands of years.
Well, unless, because I took a geology class a couple of years ago.
Well, I mean, explain it. Like, okay,
the shifts of the land, and I forgot all the terms, but the part of the land that the tree was in, the older part could move up.
Yeah, but it doesn't show that. It'll have a whole.
It's just the tree. Like there's even the
it'll
rock
have a whole
around
forest of trees. I mean, like hundreds and hundreds of trees, and they're in the whole strata all the way. Wow. And then I was thinking, okay, now it brought me back to like second grade. All right, and we took some dirt and pebbles and stuff like that, and we put it in a jar, and then we mixed it all up, and then we watched it settle, and it only took a few minutes. But it would settle, like the pebbles went to the bottom, and it would settle in perfect things, but it only took a few minutes. Now, what if there was this big flood, and it just churned everything up, trees, all kinds of stuff? And I say that most of the artifacts, like when you wash something out, where does everything go? I mean, like if you had, like, say, a big, like a children's pool or something, and one had a deep end, and you put some stuff in the shallow end, and then you washed it with a big bucket or a big hose, where would everything go?
To the deep end.
Right. So where is everything that would be on the land that wasn't like huge giant stones that don't wash out? It's all in the bottom of the ocean. That's why we don't know where it is, and we don't see it, and we only find little bitty pieces. And if it was a worldwide flood, and it's churned all that stuff up, trees and logs and this and that and all this stuff, as it settled down, it would cover that whole tree up, and then it would be that way.
Right? Hurting my brain.
Yeah,
Stop it.
I just been researching this for like a few months, and I don't listen to like I mean, I could go to like the creationist guys, and I could go to the other guys that think that, you know, I was like a slime ball or something.
I mean, it can't be like, I wouldn't say it's a worldwide flood, because we have trees that are older than the supposed Great Flood was.
No, not really. We don't.
Yeah, we do. We have a few.
But maybe they were able to stay. I mean, you know, I don't know. All I know is some things don't make sense.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Especially what the dudes that say that I crawled from a monkey, and I'll never believe that, because I think we're smarter than that just by the artifacts that they find. And like what you were saying, the big giant stones and maybe the pineal gland, and I mean, there's just some stuff that says we're smarter than that. We were never running around on dragging our knuckles.
There's
saying,
something else that happened way long time ago, guys. I think
they don't have a missing link. But if you look at evidence,
Bigfoot.
Like, I look at evidence like what I just described, like that tree that went all the way through. Nobody told me. I just read enough stuff about things, and I'm like, man, that the flood could have happened, and it could. I mean, if it did, then it changed our atmosphere. It changed the oxygen content. It changed all this stuff, and it washed away a civilization that was probably pretty smart.
Atlantis.
I mean, in Egypt, they have pictures of helicopters and all kinds of stuff.
There's this one that in one of the pyramids that there's what looks to be like when Star Wars, I don't know, I'm not a Star Wars fan, but yeah, a helicopter, a jet, and the land.
And then they have these big things that these little arms are holding,
see if I can find
and
that.
it looks like light bulbs, right?
Yeah.
Big giant light bulbs.
I've seen that.
So they had electricity. Now, and everybody tells me, well, they didn't have electricity. Okay, now.
It was an eel that they put inside that bubble.
Right, okay, now. No, I think it has wires that come from it and go to a box.
Well, then they found that the Baghdad battery too.
Right.
You know, and I don't know about that, but
only check this out. If it isn't electricity, then whatever are they using? They're using oil lamps and torches. Torches and oil lamps leave residue.
Correct.
Okay. Now, if they're carving out of this solid granite that would take them,
correct.
You know, who knows how long and how many people to be carving that?
Right.
There would be this residue all over everything where they were holding the torches, but there's not.
There's not.
Okay.
Right.
So I mean, the evidence, people. The evidence. Look at the evidence. You don't need a scientist to tell you this. You don't need a geologist to tell you this. You don't need anyone. Just be smart enough to see the evidence. It's not there.
Right.
So what is the alternative? Electricity.
Or something like it.
Yeah. And I mean, they have pictures of a light bulb. It's probably a light bulb. You know? I mean, they have a picture of a helicopter. Guess what? They might have been smart enough to have a helicopter. Nobody really knows.
Right.
We don't know. You know where all the evidence is? In the bottom of the ocean. It got washed all down there. That's my theory.
Or our governments have been hiding all this evidence.
I think what they find,
absolutely.
Like when on the end of Indiana Jones, on the movie Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah.
When I saw that,
when they push in the Ark
of the Covenant,
and they put it in this warehouse, and it's
the
gone.
dude's like walking down this big old giant aisle, and then he shoves it into a little spot, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh no, you're right. I think the governments, when the governments are trying to keep us in check. They want to rule us. There are so many things that our government is hiding from us that is ridiculous, you guys. Absolutely ridiculous. And a lot of it you can watch in the movies and on the TV shows in the theaters. A lot of stuff that you are watching, guys, a lot of it is actually true fact. And they're trying to let you know little by little what's really happening. Don't think it's by accident, guys, all right? You guys just have to open up your eyes. That's all you have to do is and stop using fluoride.
I say question everything. Right? Everything.
Yes.
Question what your professor told you. Question what your pastor told you. Question everything, and then use your own little brain and research it yourself and follow the evidence. And if we're following conspiracies, follow the money. Like the Flight Malaysia thing, follow the money. It'll lead to the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers.
Everybody.
You know, yeah, I mean, it leads to the 1%ers.
I believe in something way bigger. I believe in God. What is God? We don't know. Right. Right? I believe something put us all here, and the items that are being found today, it just you cannot let that go. Just one piece of evidence, like the gears that they have found, the gears, or that in the coal, right there, just that one little bell should have just put a halt to everybody, and that should have been breaking news worldwide. Said, look at what we just found. They predated the coal or the rock to 500,000 years ago.
They're not going to do it because they're going to get a geologist specialist to come out and say, "Oh, this is how it happened. This is what did what."
So like just like the recent findings on the Bigfoot DNA.
Exactly.
Boom.
I mean, people are
it's a bear. It's a polar bear.
People are so easy and quick to believe a specialist, quote unquote, before they, like Alan said, go out and do your own research.
Yeah. That's why we're going to go out and kill a Bigfoot, and we're going to turn this world upside down if they don't get us first.
I think that the professors have been lying to everybody for a long
time.
Not
all professors.
Well, I mean, all this stuff about, I think they've been lying.
I think the professor that was testing our DNA, I think we turned his world upside down.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, weren't you saying that he was writing it up like it was going to be?
I mean, he brought in all the other professors in the college to take part of the DNA testing that we brought in from our Bigfoot windows.
And he was even writing their name on every little thing they did.
Take that Q-tip, you take that specimen, took gloves on there. I mean, we're talking 5-second, 10-second little test. Boom, you're done. Thank you. You can leave. Yeah. You write their name down in a little book. You are part of this whole test,
and he did this.
Yeah. I mean, literally, on a Saturday, our professor brings in all of the professors at this college that were involved in biology, in science, and we're wondering, what are these people doing here? And it's funny because he has them all spread out like they're taking a test. I mean, there must have been 5, 6, 7 of them, I'm thinking, right?
Did we ever go over, because remember that one show we were going to talk about the windows? Did we ever talk about that? I don't remember.
What do you mean?
Because remember when our thing wasn't working with Art Bell, so we didn't really do a show? Wasn't that show we were supposed to talk about the windows?
We were talking about, actually, the Bigfoot photograph. I think I was supposed to show those, right? And I don't even have them up.
Oh, well, so we can still do it at a later date.
We can do a later date, too. Yeah. Okay, I wanted to. Oh.
Because we want to do it right.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a little segue here, a little break. When we were at the...
We need to take a picture of it and send it to... No, I don't know. Do you think? Because we want everybody to see this.
Oh, you know what I'd love to have on there?
Can we put it? We'll have to ask them.
I'll have to ask them. No. But anyways,
Dark Matter Radio Network.
How long have we been doing this show? I've been doing that 3 years, 4 years, now, 5 years maybe. I've been wanting to get...
You're doing it before I came.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get shirts for the longest time, and I've been so busy, and every time we find somebody who does shirts, they flake on us.
Yeah.
I mean, every time, and I don't understand it. Is that the type of quality of people that we have? Well, anyways, we were at the convention this weekend, and just right next to us, there was a guy making shirts. So I told him what we wanted. I had the logo there. I said, dude, can you do this? And he says, yeah. So he made a couple of shirts, and he gave them to me. And you want to show them, Emerald, there real quick? So we actually got some just one color shirts really quick, just for us, okay? Prototypes.
And it just says Paranormal Central.
But we're going to get some color ones made, and we're going to put some stuff on the sleeves, on the back, and stuff like that. And then we're going to go ahead and start selling them to all you guys, because I know you guys have been wanting them like crazy. So give us about 2 weeks, and we should have some made. And we'll let you know in a couple weeks on the show that if you want some, how much money to send, and then you can purchase a shirt, right? Because I know a lot of people have been wanting some. So, anyways, all right. Where were we? As far as the
oh, it looks so good. Yep, we'll have shirts. Yep.
So
shirts.
Okay, so yeah. As far as the governments of the world, of course they are hiding it. They're all in it together, guys. They're all in it together. Okay, just as simple as that. Now, all right, let's continue on. All right,
no calls. We're not giving away any shirts.
No, these are ours. Sorry.
So, all right.
No, they're $29.99.
Yeah, really. Plus tax comes out to $50 even.
Yeah, 50 even.
Yeah. So, okay. Missing people. Obviously, you guys all know September the 7th, we are going to have David Paulides once again.
Yes.
And we're going to talk to him about his 4th book, The Devil in the Details. And we're going to talk to him about different locations and all that kind of good stuff. Well, people are still going missing, you guys. Yeah. All right? There is, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and put
like
up
2 just in the last 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting really, really ridiculous. Now, what did I do with... You got to be kidding me, right? Oh, there it is. A father and son from Minnesota went to Colorado, Mount Evans. They went missing April the 6th. They were both found dead. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and read you, though, the circumstances. They went April 6th missing. The pair were not found together. The bodies were 2 miles from the campsite, not found together, and they were not near a trail. Wow. Okay, the coroner still has to release the details. Are they? Probably not, on how the both father and son were found and then the details. But you would think a father and a son. Now, could have one been injured and then maybe the father went for help and then he died. Yeah, people are going to come up with different speculations and theories, but this is nonstop, you guys. People are going missing and they're dead. They've been found dead, and this is happening a lot.
Is that the only details about the dead?
That's all they released.
Yeah,
that's all they released.
Like, what is one of the things that David Paulides says are like way up high in the rocks?
Well, this one they didn't get into the detailed part, but I just copied down the better part of the details, right. And
Still
again,
interesting.
But again, if let's just say they didn't say how far apart, when they were found, obviously deceased. Why would both of them die far apart? That just doesn't make any sense to me. I could see maybe one, let's say, had an accident and then the other one went for help, but why would both of them be dead? I can't see both of them again.
Especially maybe the younger one. He should have made it out.
Yeah, if they were together and they were dead, then maybe they had an accident. But you don't know. Not two together like that. How do two people die, a father and a son? They didn't fall off a cliff. They didn't say that. They just were found dead, very far apart, on a high mountain part in Colorado. Mountain. We're talking 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 feet, you guys. Bigfoot territory. All right.
I don't want to go hiking on my trip now.
You need to be careful, girl. All right. You need to be seriously, man, because I don't want to have to go find another engineer.
We had these people that were coming to us at our booth, and looking at all the Bigfoot stuff we have, and some of them would even close their ears
because they didn't believe this.
No, you can't tell me Bigfoot could be mean. No. And they're like closing their ears. I mean, actually putting their hands over their ears and walking away. That Bigfoot can't be mean. I'm like, man, what about Jeffrey Dahmer?
It's an animal.
People are mean. So that if people are mean, then a Bigfoot could be mean, and there could be nice ones too. Who knows?
Not all dogs are nice. You have mean dogs. I mean, yeah.
Some cats are.
Even one guy said, you mean there's more than one Bigfoot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this one takes flights on Malaysia Airlines, and he goes all over the country scaring people.
Yeah, so be careful, you guys, when you guys go camping. I repeat, do not go by yourself. If you do go by yourself, you better have the biggest gun in the world, all right? Now, this past Saturday or yesterday, we were supposed to go on that on that trip to Shaver because you
that's
guys
right.
okay. But obviously we couldn't go because Danny's son was in the hospital. So we're going to postpone that until Danny is available to go with us, and we don't know when that's going to happen. But
right. We'll wait for you, Danny.
Oh yeah, because I know Danny wants.
We don't want
to
to go without you. It's no
right.
fun.
Let me tell you something that while we were at the convention this weekend. I don't want to say his name, but he came up. He's a Facebook follower.
Yep. There was a few of them.
Yeah, and he was telling me that, hey, I just signed up for the service. And I went, really? And he goes, yeah. And I go, how old are you? He goes, 31 years old. I'm going.
It's almost like at the limit.
I'm going. Why did you sign up? I go, they came to me. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah. He goes, I wasn't seeking to go into the service. I was at home, and somebody said a sergeant wanted to speak to me. And I said, what? He goes, yeah. So he made an offer that I couldn't refuse. So he signed on the dotted line. And as a matter of fact, he just told me, and he has friends in the military, that they are recruiting like crazy right now. And they're keeping them here in the States. He said they will take anyone right now. Anyone. If you want to go, they will take you. And he says something is going down. He says something is going to happen pretty soon. That's why they are recruiting so many personnel. Something is going to happen here pretty soon.
What branch?
I don't know. He didn't tell me. But
it's amazing he even told you.
Yeah. So he's going to come on the show next week and just talk about, I don't want to say talk about that, but he was telling me about his brother. And I was tripping on this, but he was saying his brother's in the military. And maybe that's why they came to him, because his brother's in the military. So maybe that's why they came to him. I don't know. But his brother had an incident that happened in Afghanistan. And I'm not going to say exactly what happened, but let's just say they encountered some interesting people.
In America?
No, in Afghanistan.
Oh.
That didn't look human.
What?
Yeah. And they were freaking out at what they were witnessing over there. So if he can't convince his brother to come on, then he'll tell the story. Sweet. All right. So that blew me away. That was just weird.
Man, I can't wait for this.
That's crazy. So he'll come on hopefully next week, and I'm pretty sure you will next week. So.
Oh, I'm never here for the good shows.
Well, hey, you got internet, right?
Yeah.
Well, listen.
Okay.
Yeah, when you're out on your hiking around with the German
do?
Shepherd or whatever it is,
Okay,
you can listen.
Casey Kasem, his body's missing.
What?
Yes, they can't find his body.
What do you mean they can't find it?
They can't find it. It's missing.
Did he
Scooby Doo himself?
Did he sign one
Shaggy.
of those contracts?
Oh.
Where like the Illuminati type.
Or they take his brain and they put his body in.
What?
Oh, I'm just saying his body's missing. His kids are trying to bury him, but they can't find his body. That right now you can Google, you guys. They can't find his body. Poor Casey.
Man, he was missing, and then he
maybe
found him dead.
Maybe
and then he's missing
maybe
again.
he was on the Malaysian aircraft.
Jeff.
I'm just kidding. Okay, they can't find his body. So what's up with that? I mean, how do they lose a famous DJ, Casey Kasem's body? Really? That doesn't make any sense to me. How would they lose a body like that? Okay.
I don't know. Maybe he's not dead. Maybe they cloned him.
Ooh,
and the clone died, and he's somewhere else, all fine.
Maybe he is. What's that?
That's something that I mean, I won't get into it here. I mean, that's another thing that some of this evidence leads me down the path.
What's that? To
this cloning thing.
I've heard and seen a lot of pictures about that, like famous people, and they have pictures like back in the day, and they look exactly the same.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean,
then you're right. He looks the same, doesn't he?
When you watch these movies, like Jeff was talking about, like Star Wars, they're all about cloning. I mean, cartoons, they're cloning. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on cloning out there, and most everybody is like, yeah, it's just so far out there that they just don't think of it. But man, there is really, I mean, if things go how it's been going, I mean, it might be true, really true. Sadly, but we don't have enough money to do that.
It's interesting.
Yes, okay. It is.
You, Ellen, had you found a video.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that video. What did you find?
It was during I'm looking for evidence, about things, and it was like people say predictions, right? And I was reading stuff about predictions, and I came across this guy, and I don't know the guy or anything, and I was actually watching another video on something else, and you know how on YouTube it'll have a string of videos on the side that is related material, or you might be interested or something like that. And there was this one, and I had the player set on where when the video ends, it just starts another video.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really paying attention, I was actually on another website, reading the website, and I was listening to the video on YouTube, and then that video stopped and another video started, and then it intrigued me what I was listening to, right? I was like, whoa, what in the world? And then because I couldn't believe what he was saying, especially when he was saying the dates that when this was coming to him, right? And
now, when was this video made?
Okay, the video was made like 97.
Okay.
All right. And the dream he had in 85. But the things he was talking about are today. And it was like, chilling today. Like that's what got me. He was talking about these black Hummers, okay? And I was listening up until that point, and he said he brought up this Hummer on the screen, but he said this isn't the ones that were in my dream because I can't find pictures of them. But only they have Hummers on the lot. They just came out with Hummers. So whenever the newest Hummer is, that's the year he made the video. It could be, I don't know, it could be even 2000, I don't know. And then I went and looked, and he's got this brand new Hummer picture, and I noticed the videotape, it was videotape. And somebody turned it in, put it on digital or whatever, but only, how it gets the glitches, it was glitching. And it was like, wow, that's actually videotape, magnetic tape. So this guy, he starts talking about these black Hummers on every corner, and that was intriguing. And then he said that he's telling the people, like, you might not believe this, but this is what I was shown in my dream. He goes, there's going to be cameras on all the traffic lights, right? And there'll be these poles set up on the corners, and there'll be cameras. And he goes, and they track your movement. And he said the weirdest thing, he goes, now I know what it is. It's a laptop. But he goes, it's not a laptop. He goes, these Hummers had a screen built into the dash where, they could get information just like a laptop. Okay, now back then, for sure, they did not have the screens in the dash. But now I could buy a car with a screen in the dash. You know what I mean? And with backup cameras on it. But he was saying these Hummers have that, and they're black, and they're on every corner. He said the cameras are keeping track of you, and then he said there's TVs. The TVs, he says, this is going to blow you away, but the TVs have cameras in them, and they're keeping track of you on the TVs too. Like now, wait a minute, man. Even back in 2004, 2007, there was no TVs with known that could keep track of you. And I listened to this, and I'm like, oh my God. Then he started talking about the money. He was saying, he pulled out some money, and he said, there's new money coming, and it's going to be rainbow money. And he goes, and they're going to be able to track it. They're going to be able to track you with your money. And he said how they're going to do that is they're going to have strips on it, on the money, and the money's going to be like different colors, and it might even have like some kind of a weird chip thing on the money. I'm listening to this guy like, oh my God, what kind of dream was this? This guy
this is
telling
all
us today. That's today. We have that.
But he is talking about this in 1997.
Right.
Okay.
Wait, don't we have those blue strips on our hundreds now?
Yeah, and when the bank gives them to you, it's computer generated, and they know like where the money is in the drawer. So when you get cash out of the bank or out of your ATM, they already know what money you have. So then when you go spend it, when it gets when they count it up and it goes back in the bank, and it'll say, oh, this money came from Target, and he was in Target and he spent his money in Target or the 7-Eleven or wherever because they got to deposit it back, and they put a deposit slip with it.
So that means when I go buy my ammunition, I better use coins.
Right. Or trade somebody the money.
Trade somebody's money.
There you go.
Yeah, he was saying buy silver and gold. And then he said there's this guy on TV that came on TV, and on these TVs, he goes, big screen TVs, really big ones, and he couldn't believe that they had TVs that big, Like back then they had projectors, okay? Only he was like seeing, he goes, you go in a bar and there's all these TVs all over the place and one big old giant TV. I mean, he's describing stuff that he can't describe because it wasn't even made yet like that, And anyways, he said that this guy was talking about and what really shocks me, I was reading something just right before I came over here on my waiting for my wife on Facebook, and it said that there's this new thing, and the New World Order is out. It's called the One World Order or something now. I mean, and I just saw that, and I'll follow up with this, and I'll get the information to you guys. But he said they weren't using the New World Order, NWO. He said he was calling it One World Order. And this guy was so good at, there has to be one currency, and there has to be one government, and there has to be one police force, and there has to be one religion, and the whole thing. And he said it was almost swaying him, and he was against it. But what really blew him away was the Americans didn't even fight. They didn't resist. In his dream, they did not resist. They were all signing on, just like that. And he's like, hey, people, you know what you're giving up? You're giving up America, the red, white, and blue. He goes, I respect my military, and what are you doing? I put my hand over my heart when they raised the flag and sing the national anthem. He said, you guys are giving that all up? Just like that? You just believe this guy? And there was a whole bunch more, and I don't know if I really want to talk about that part, because then it gets into some stuff that really will cause a big stir, like he had his head cut off. But first he watched his wife's head get cut off because he didn't renounce his religion. But he went really in detail about it, about the whole thing, about how he got captured and he got put in, guess what? He said he got put in a camp. He said, listen to this. He says, they have these prisons, right, all over the place, and they're out like in the middle of, out of the city. And he goes, and there's nobody in them
yet.
And there's all these prisons. And he goes, California has a bunch of them. And he's from California, but he's speaking in Indiana. He goes, California has a whole bunch of these prisons. And then when they finally caught him, they put him in one of those prisons. And the prisons are actually for Christians. Nobody else. Just Christians go in those camps. He never said it was a FEMA camp. He said it was a prison for Christians. And he really wasn't a Christian. He was a Catholic, right? I mean, but only he had this dream, and he was spelling it out. And I stayed watching the whole thing. It was like almost 2 hours long, only because he couldn't know that. He couldn't know about the cameras on the street corners. He couldn't know about the black Hummers. He couldn't know about the screens. He couldn't know about that all the cop cars have laptops in them. I mean, he couldn't know that in the date that he made that video. He couldn't even know it. In fact, they didn't even have HD, right, or anything, right? I mean, so somebody showed him that. I mean, he had this hellacious dream that, blew me away, completely blew me away, because how could he couldn't know that,
Wow. Wait, we're getting into some scary times here. I mean,
that's what really tripped me out, because if I tell you the parts that he said was happening, okay, we know that he's talking about our day because of the cameras and the black Hummers and the FEMA camps and all this other stuff that he described, and the money and everything. and the New World Order not being the New World Order anymore, but One World Order. And there's something on Facebook about One World Order. You could probably Google it. It's in the news today. They're getting away from New World Order and going to One World Order. What that guy said, and I mean, it rocked my world when I saw it today. I'm serious, because I'm telling you, if you watch that video, you're gonna freak, because there's not good things coming.
Well, I mean, we've already taken steps towards it. We've been doing this for a couple of years now.
Yeah, well, I mean, still, it was before his time to know it.
Yeah.
And then he was talking about, worldwide earthquakes that was knocking over 7-story buildings and all kinds of disaster stuff, like hail in America, and he was naming the cities and stuff where these hails the size of basketballs were coming down and killing people. You know, and they're running for cover, but it's like splat, splat, splat. You know what I mean? And other stuff.
Well, what other stuff that scare people right now?
Well, he was talking about, like, the when you don't. He showed the mark. I mean, everybody hears about the mark. He actually showed the mark. He drew it on somebody's hand, and it was a sunburst. Okay, a sunburst on, and it was in the what do you call this little piece of skin between your forefinger and your thumb? That little soft area. Okay, the mark went in there on the right hand, and he said that at first it was voluntary, and then it became where, like, everybody had to have it, and you couldn't buy or sell or anything without this mark, and they were getting rid of the money, and all you had to do is, and he said the young people and everything were just going for it because, oh, you mean I only have to pass my hand, scan my hand, and that's it? And they're like, yeah, it was like, go for it, do it. But it had a sunburst, and then inside the sunburst had a hand, and on the hand that was tattooed on there was another sunburst on the back of the hand. And that was the mark. That was the mark that he needed to buy and sell. And they were doing away with the money. And his friend actually was showing him the mark. He was going in the bank, and his friend stops right there and shows him the mark and says, "Hey, you better go get this right now, because right now it's voluntary and there's no lines. But pretty soon they're going to force it on you, and then there's going to be these huge long lines. You might as well just get it now, get it over with." And then about that time, the whole world started shaking, and this big building fell down and killed like 250 people right in front of him. 7-story glass building fell down. And then he had to describe to everybody that was sitting there, glass buildings where the whole building's glass, because I guess then there wasn't a whole lot of glass buildings. You know what I mean? They're all brick and stuff,
Now, if you didn't get... Now, you were telling me that this whole healthcare, Obamacare thing,
right,
is actually a scam to make you get
the mark.
The mark.
Yes. It's actually like in 4 years, it's going to be required. You read it, and you'll find in 4 years that it's going to be a requirement.
Well, wouldn't that foreshadow those quote unquote microchips that people were rumoring about?
Yeah. Well, the microchips I've been hearing about that forever.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah, me too.
All right, now, so being that you're a God, religious person, you think that what does this particular mark on the hand, does that have anything to do with, if you believe in Satan or evil?
Yeah, wasn't there like a thing that if you got the mark you were screwed, like you couldn't be... I'm not religious, I'm just saying
right.
I've heard something like that.
Well, see, like my theory, okay, it's theory only because it really doesn't say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just says if you take the mark,
you're screwed.
Yeah, you're screwed. But only there's some clues, and it says like in these days, it'll be like the days of Noah, right? So then, like, if you want to know in these days what these are, then you have to research. You're going to go back and research what the days of Noah are. And then that actually goes into what we were talking about earlier about, right, pre-flood. Okay, and then it describes some of the days of Noah, and it said that everybody was sinning against the flesh, but only I think what it means is like they were messing with people's DNA. and it was saying they sinned against the animals, they sinned against the humans. I mean, it was like real, like, how do you sin against the animals? Like, you know, what were they doing? But if you look at the time frame and you look at what evidence we do have, then you see minotaurs, and you see the Egyptians with a bird head and a man body, and so they were playing with DNA. Okay, they're trying to make something in their image or whatever. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I just think it was DNA related. Now, Roger Lear, Dr. Roger Lear, before he died, he was pulling out those little implants out of the people. Okay, and then right before he died, somebody asked him, "What do you think those implants are doing?" And he said it's changing their DNA. Okay, now, I think that's what that thing does, is change your DNA. It starts changing your DNA.
For the good or better? Or worse?
For the worse, because when you read the Bible, like, people say, man, God, if he was so good, why did he destroy whole, like, cities and stuff and tell the Israelites to go in and kill everybody? You know, the babies, the women, the children, kill everybody. It was because they had this DNA, this bad DNA. And that is unacceptable, right? It was unacceptable, totally unacceptable.
Playing devil's advocate, what made it so bad?
That I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't
now,
know that
do you
part.
remember, matter of fact, Cheryl brought this up.
I'm just only...
Let's just say 10 years, 20 years ago, when a person wanted to marry somebody, they had to go get blood tests first. And if you had a blood type, then they would not allow you... remember
like
that?
RH negative
or something like that.
Something
remember?
like that, yeah.
Oh, obviously you were too young.
I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
There was, you had to go get blood tests before you got married because they didn't want a certain blood type to marry another blood type.
Why?
Good question.
We don't know.
That's a fact. Go Google it. And then all of a sudden they stopped with that particular law. Maybe they found a way around it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's just say, all right, now we're talking conspiracy theories, but let's say our government, again, knows about our DNA and our blood type, where we have come from, and they know some of these people, example, have maybe the blood type of Jesus or something like that, and that is how they didn't want it to continue on. You follow me? They didn't want it to, for you to have more babies, for that DNA to continue on.
So that how I came to the DNA part, like how I came to the idea that it's DNA they're talking about, when it made the reference to back in the Noah, Noah, it was going to be like the days of Noah. There was one thing that God did that made Noah stand out from everyone. I mean, first, he was like him and 6 other people were the only ones that lived through the flood, supposedly. And why was it that they lived through the flood? It was because he found they were perfect, okay? But what made them perfect? Well, it turns out that they were pure blood, like pure DNA. So they were it was his creation, not any other, experimental from anything else experimenting on him. And it was the only ones he could find. He said everything else was polluted. So, I mean, and that's really what, that's what got me onto the DNA thing. And I mean, this is just my theory.
Right.
You guys go read it your own self and look for the evidence your own self, and, I don't want to argue with everybody on stuff. this is what I'm finding, and I'm
well, that's your
reporting
research.
it,
That makes sense.
Yeah, but what,
it made me really believe in God a whole lot more. Let me tell you that much.
Well,
I didn't grow up in church. I did not, and I don't go to church still. But I'm telling you, the evidence points like heavily towards God, really heavily.
Or
and the more you research it, the more it's pointing there, like a big old neon sign. After a while, it's like, oh my God, how could the professors be standing up there telling you all this crap?
Well, it's based. I'm not saying it's biased, but it's like you're gonna gravitate towards something that you're already started with. like you're looking for a certain, like with the planes and everything, all these theories and stuff like that. I mean, there's some that are completely out there, but when you dig a little deeper, you find the ones like, hey, that makes sense. Or this makes sense, this connects to this, and so on and so forth. Like I said, I'm not religious at all. I don't believe in a God or something like that, but that's based on experience and stuff like that. Now, I haven't gone out and done as much research as you have, but even with that research, I still don't think I would be, just because, I mean, I was brought up Catholic.
I actually started out trying to disprove it.
Yeah.
Because I actually, like, went to college and science and biology and everything. That was my favorite thing, you know, in college. I mean, I could read 1,200 words a minute, so I could sit and read these books that everybody else is going, oh my God, how could he even sit and read that, you know? But I was eating it up. It was, like, really interesting. But I did have a rub. Like, I always thought we were smarter than, you know, crawling out of the primordial ooze, right? And I didn't think that rain, and this is really, truly, I mean, this blew me away, but when I found it, rain washed on a rock, and a long time, a billion years, whatever it is, it washed on a rock, it washed a bunch of amino acids and stuff into a puddle, and then that mixed with some other things, and then it got zapped by a piece of lightning or something, and now we have all these different species, and I think, and the actual little bits of life that they say that it was isn't even as complicated as one cell in a human body. Like, come on.
Well, I know there's different theories. Like, yeah, I've heard of many, and I mean, we could sit here and argue theories all day, but we will never know.
That's right, we don't.
We'll never know.
I say question everything.
Yeah, of
and
course.
I say do your research, come to your conclusions. And be willing to change your ideals, because when you go, like I was trying to disprove it, and now I'm still not trying to prove it to anyone, only to myself. I want to know the truth, and that's why I sit here, and that's why I go Bigfoot hunting, and I want to know the truth about everything, and
ditto.
That's how I am, you know.
Yeah. So that's why we're doing this, because things are not making sense to us, guys. Yeah. We're using our heads, and common sense is telling us there's something way bigger than all of us happening out there. And we're here to at least find a little part of it.
A fraction.
Because, you know, if you do find that fraction, that is going to open up a whole another can of worms that it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. But, for example, you know, 5 weeks ago, 2 months ago, however long it has been, I want to say we were the first ones here to open up and say we are going to go kill a Bigfoot. All right, we were the first ones. We were pretty much the first ones, and then everybody
get one to save the rest
of
them.
And then everybody started coming out. Okay, you know, you guys really, it's all about getting out there and finding out the truth. Whether if we have to go and kill one, well, so be it. We have to. You know, if we do come back with a specimen of a Bigfoot, I think
it'll save all the rest of them.
Oh, not only that, but that is going to open up where it came from, where its DNA, and you know, and I think that's going to blow a lot of people away. But it's all about finding the truth. It is.
So if you guys say you're going on a camping trip and don't come back, we know what happened.
Well, not only it can't be the Bigfoot. It probably could be
if you find
our government is up there, you know, following us, or
it could be both. Really, I mean, we could shoot one, and we're so engrossed in that one that the other three get us. You know.
Yeah. So
we could, defend ourselves.
We have plans. So I just bought a tank parked out in back with a machine gun on top.
Yeah,
so.
we put like machine gun ports on the ambulance.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. Wow. All right. Again, you guys, we apologize if we are talking about a certain subject and we tangent and go out and talk about another subject. But you know what? This is what we do here. All right. We get into everything and we talk about everything. And if
everybody has to know that we're not in normal times. That's the part that gets me the most. And that's really what gets me going is they say, oh, there's like these superstorms, and the weatherman himself will say, there's never been a storm like the drought we're in right now. It's never been this hot or dry.
You said that your buddy who works as a meteorologist said that look out, California or Central Valley, that we're going to have one hell of a winter coming up.
Well, I mean, you could already see it happening right now. I mean, like the people that are on the net and like this kind of stuff, go on the weather websites, especially the NOAA one and National Weather Service and stuff, and start looking at the El Nino thing. Like, we have been hot and muggy, and it's been sprinkling and stuff like that, and there's clouds coming in. It's because it has a weak El Nino, and he's predicting that, and he's hoping, praying really, that it stays, and it could possibly set up to be one of the wettest rain years that we ever had. Again, another, like, this isn't normal. I mean, it's going to be over excessive rain, okay? Yes. And we're having over excessive heat right now.
I'm just ready for winter. Back east,
they're having over excessive rain in winter. Like, my sister's complaining in Wisconsin because it's freaking cold already. And she's like, man, please come back summer, I mean, we're not living in normal. No. And I resist anyone that says normal.
Okay, now let's talk about that. Well, we got 20 minutes, but go ahead.
You have people that you could tell that the sky is blue and they're going to believe it's purple.
Right.
And they're going through their lives day to day. They don't want to know.
No.
You have people that are completely comfortable and not
lives.
Questioning.
Everything's awesome.
Yeah, they're going they're going day to day. Like you said, not questioning anything. So, right. I mean, they're already controlled.
Well, look what's going on right now. The Earth is off its axis by how many degrees?
Oh, yeah, when the Japan earthquake happened, it even shortened our day.
Now, what is causing that?
I don't know.
Now
we talked about that last week, I think.
Planet X, Nibiru. Is there another planet in our solar system that's coming back this way that's causing what we are witnessing today, and it's still on its way? Now, again, we can get into that. Nibiru, the Anunnaki.
Like, what are the Catholics looking at with their big, huge, giant telescope in Arizona named Diablo?
Kind of ironic.
Yeah. Like, what are they looking for? They're looking, there with the largest one.
Yeah, they're looking at something at a specific location, and it's pointed at, like, they're waiting for something to come this way. The Anunnaki, Planet X, there are signs. People write about the Anunnaki, and there are symbols all over the place. The Anunnaki symbolizes, I believe, the rich, the Illuminati.
Yeah. It's a bloodline.
The bloodline. All right, you guys?
It goes back to that DNA.
Yes, the DNA thing. Like 2 weeks ago, I posted, what's her name? Oh, my God. Well, anyways, people wear symbolisms all over the place. And I talk about Katy Perry all the time, and different people wear the pyramids with the all-seeing eye. Hollywood is way into all this more than you think. And the reason why I want to bring this up is because I want to show you something. Everybody knows what the Anunnaki symbolisms are. You can Google it. There are structures that are right there in front of your face. Now, we have talked about this a couple of years ago on my show, and we're going to talk about it again. In LA, there are actually a couple of locations that have the symbolisms of the Anunnaki, Assyrian, palaces and all this. And you guys are probably going, "What are you talking about?" I'm going to post a picture right now on live stream right now, guys. Let me get another one. There's this one in LA on the I-5 freeway, right out the I-5, and it's actually called the Citadel, and it's a bunch of shopping centers right off the 5 freeway near the 710 freeway. All right, and a lot of you guys have probably seen this as you're driving by, but really not paid much attention. Just said, "Oh wow, that's a very cool building." Well, inside this building there are a bunch of stores. It's like a mall, very mall. It's called the Citadel. When this thing was built in the early 1900s, it was built by a person who happens to be a Mason, by the way, and he started a company called the Samson's Tire Company. All right. Now, if you look, Samson. If you look on this particular building, you will notice some symbolisms, and I'm going to show them to you even closer right now. Now, let's go there. No, let's go there. Yeah. Okay, I'm showing you right now. For all those, again, who are listening to us on the Art Bell network right now, artbell.com website, you can always go back and watch this.
Yeah, and we could describe it too. It looks like some kind of a temple.
Okay, well, actually, it was the person who built this. Obviously, back then had a lot of money, and
it looks like it.
And he actually wanted to look like an Assyrian palace from back up in the Egypt and back up in those days, and that's what he made it look like. All right, you can look. It looks like a palace. I mean, you can look at this and say, "Am I in, Egypt?" I mean, this looks like a palace, basically. Now, I'm going to show you another. Now, look at the symbolisms on there. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. All right, let me open up this here for you guys. All right. You see these, I guess, symbols of what they look like, the Anunnaki, back in the day. Okay, right. Now this is off the I-freeway. I mean, this is a humongous palace. Basically, it was built to look like an Assyrian palace. It's called the Citadel. It's right off the 5 freeway. Now, let's look at this particular photograph. Did you know there is one that was, this is built and it's near the Kodak Theater where they hold the Oscars. And look at this. And all you guys probably have walked right by this or right under it and never noticed the symbols on top. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in on it. It is basically the same symbols that are used in Egypt. You guys see that? All right. All this is not a coincidence. All this, I believe, the elite, the Hollywood elite, the governments, the people who have the most money, the power, are into the bloodline, the Anunnaki. Do you see this? I mean, again, if you watch a lot of music videos, you will also see a lot of the symbolism, guys.
Oh my God, it is really.
In the Super Bowl, you see a lot of the symbolisms in the halftime show in the Super Bowl. Madonna used it 2 years back. I was watching that with my mouth dropped because she was using pyramids, the all-seeing eye, everything.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, this is all there now. Why are they actually promoting this? Well, I'm thinking they probably signed a contract. It's weird. There's so many theories. Are they the elite? Or are they born into what they're doing? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that for some reason the elite have a power trip and they want to... And they have a power trip, and they and they're trying to promote who they are. And there are symbolisms like this everywhere, you guys. You guys have to open up your eyes. The next time you watch the Oscars, the next time you watch some music video award ceremony, look what they are wearing. Look at what the actors or the rock stars are wearing when they are up performing on the stage. Look at their set design.
Even in just their plain videos that they
and their videos as well. Absolutely.
They're like rocking that eye, Horus eye.
Okay. We just lost connection for about 20 seconds or so while you were talking about that.
No, really? To the art bell?
Yeah.
That's
Man,
funny.
we don't never lose that connection.
Well, not like that. Not in a while.
No, it's been a long time. And we're clean on live stream, so that's weird. So, okay.
That is weird.
Usually we don't do that. All right. So, Planet X Nibiru, is that all something that we need to, keep our eyes on? Maybe.
Well, I mean, that would explain why they changed the numbers on the runways.
Oh yeah, no, the degrees are off now. There's something that's messing with the force around the Earth, and it's a matter of fact now. If you look up in the sky, you will notice the Big Dipper is not where it's supposed to be. All right, it was there, now it's over here, and different locations now. They're not. There's something. The star maps are wrong, and there are different positions of these stars as they were last year or 2 years ago, or not. It's not where it's supposed to be. It's a different location, and that's why they are, like you said, renumbering the runways, because they're now in different locations according to the
Right.
GPS.
Yeah,
the planes
if they
cannot
follow it. They'll go land in a field instead of in the airport.
It will not work.
Yeah.
So something is definitely messing with the magnetic force of the Earth, and it's knocking us out of whack. And maybe that's why we're having all these different weird weather patterns. Something is interfering with our way of life, and maybe that's why. Maybe, for example, the Vatican is waiting for something to arrive. We don't know. Maybe that's why there is a severe, big-time military buildup. Maybe that's why Fresno's underground base is being made
like crazy,
bigger. Maybe that's why they're enforcing the outer areas of the military installations. So, I feel something is about to happen within the next couple of years.
Oh, man, I don't think that it's going to happen like this big event, like wham, is going to happen. I think it's happening.
Now?
Yeah, it's changing. It's like it's already happening, and we're in the middle of it, and it's just a matter of time before it gets... It's like when I lived in L.A., the earthquakes... I lived through this really huge earthquake, but everybody's talking about the big earthquake in LA. Well, really, you know what? It was a bunch of little earthquakes, and it got worse and worse and worse. And then one morning, there was this huge one that just cracked the walls and knocked down, the freeway overpasses and everything. And then they got littler after that, aftershocks, right? Mm-hmm. I think we're building up to the big one. You know what I mean? I think we're seeing the evidence already that we're in this.
We are seeing the evidence, as in the volcanoes are really starting to awaken.
Oh yeah.
For Yellowstone,
2 feet, it already rose 2 feet.
Okay, Yellowstone,
that's huge.
The streets are melting in Yellowstone, guys. All right, there are lakes in Yellowstone area are starting to steam up and bubble up like they've never done before. Yeah. There are volcanoes right now around the world that are bursting out, and lava's going all over the place. It's because something is messing with the magnetic the space around Earth that's knocking us out of whack. That's making Earth wake up, and that's what's happening.
You know what? Before we go, we only have a couple of minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We have to talk about PT.
Oh. This Friday, yep, absolutely. This Friday, for all those who weren't at the convention this past weekend, you guys missed Possessed Tranquility performing live. Well, this Friday, we will be in attendance at the Fulton 55 Club in downtown Fresno. Possessed Tranquility, our official house band for Paranormal Central. They actually wrote the song, The Unexplained, that you hear at the intro and the exit about every show. They're going to be performing live, and they're finally are going to be releasing their album on Friday night.
And a video.
And they actually had a video filmed professionally, and they're going to be debuting it there before they go on stage. We will be there as well. We'll have a booth set up, and we are going to be there to show our appreciation for the band, and we're going to be there. We're going to party. So for all those who want to come down, it's right now if you get tickets in advance, it's only $5 at the door, $7. Whoopee. Okay, guys, $7. All right, come by. We'll be there. So come by and party with us, have fun, get to know us. If you have some secrets you want to bring along with you, by all means do so. But we will be there this Friday night, and I want everybody to show up because we will all be there. All right, you guys? Possess tranquility.
And I got to, as soon as I find it here, I'm going to be on Heidi Hollis's show next Friday night, right before that, and everybody could tune in. I'll be putting up the link. I'm trying to find the name of it here. Outlanders. Heidi Hollis's Outlanders radio show out of Chicago. I'll be on that one next week.
Cool.
I think it's like 6 p.m. Central Time, but I'll put all the details on the Paranormal Central page. Okay. And then as soon as I get done with that radio show, I'll be at the party over there with PT. But I just wanted everybody to know that I'll be on the Outlanders show. I'll probably be talking about the Shadow Man and stuff. In fact, I'm arranging right now with Heidi Hollis to have Heidi Hollis on the show too.
Cool.
And talk about some things that she has. She's gonna rock your socks off with some stuff, man. I mean, craziness that proves that we're like in this time,
Right.
We're in this time zone.
We got
thing.
2 minutes to go. Yeah. So, okay, right before we go, something that I don't want to say how we forgot this, but we're offered a half-hour show on the Fox Network here in Central California. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and take it. We have a meeting tomorrow with one of the representatives, and we are going to be shooting a 30-minute show for the Fox Network.
Yay!
And that will be I can't tell you when, how, what, but they offered it to us because they know that we have some good stuff. So we're going to do it. And it looks like we're going to try to get something even bigger than that. Right now it's locally, which means 500,000 people. 2 million people. Well, you know what? Bakersfield all the way to Merced. So we're talking several million. Yeah, a couple of million people. So we have that opportunity. But what's also a greater opportunity is they are going to submit that 30-minute show into the availability system for nationwide. All right, that's it. We're done, guys. You got one more. What else happened? You just talked to a guy today. Right. We're having a meeting on what?
Remember the phone call right before?
Oh yeah. We got offered on another podcast radio station wants to rebroadcast our show nationally. So that's going to be awesome. So all right, that's it for us. My name is Jeffrey Gonzalez with Alan Thomas and Emerald in the dark corner back there.
Listening to Paranormal Central.
Bye everyone.
Thank you. See y'all next time. Next Sunday.
Bye. I won't be here. I'll be there in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah. See you this Friday at Fulton 55.
Stay tuned for next time. Remember to keep your eyes to the skies. And we hope you witness something you cannot explain.